I am Jay Selthofner. I'm from rural Wisconsin, and for the city folks who don't know that, I live and work in a county where the largest city that I work in has 1,900 people in it. 1,900 people. So they say, as a marijuana activist, you're absolutely freaking crazy to go out in this rural community, march in parades, have this big green leaf everywhere. They're like, what are you doing? It's suicide. It's murder. We did it. We found a tremendous amount of support for the issue. So much support for the issue that we founded a chapter of Northern Wisconsin Normal. We travel throughout the state to try to educate folks in the rural community to the wonderful benefits of the hemp cannabis plant. The support was so overwhelming in my district. People in the community urged me to run for office, so I made a run for office on the issue, which drew a lot more publicity than we had initially imagined, and the publicity we got did not result in political suicide. It did not involve community suicide. In fact, other organizations saw what we were doing. They would ask us to help. So the key to being an activist, whether it's a city, rural, whatever community is, it's the definition of the word, active. Just do stuff. Do it always. Do it often. And the support will be there. We tell people that you're not going to convince that 1 or 2 out of every 10 people to support cannabis laws. There's going to be 20% that probably aren't going to support. But what we can do is we can encourage the other 80% to get active and change the laws. We have the majority on our side. When we run into a naysayer, we congratulate them that they're in the minority now. And we move on to find that person that supports, and so they can get active. And in Wisconsin, the most important thing we can do to get active is contact your legislators again and again and again. If you found out some information about hemp cannabis that you found interesting, that you think is applicable to our crisis in Wisconsin, whether that be an obesity epidemic, whether that be to combat drunk driving, or maybe to give a safer alternative than nicotine, even just to allow our farmers to participate in this multi-billion-dollar economy. It does not matter why you support hemp cannabis reform, but what does matter is you take that information and you get it to the legislators. We think they're up here. They're not up here. They're the same as us. They're out there gathering information. So if you find something, share it with them. If you see a news article, share it with them. If you find a study, share it with them. Get some quotes. Memorize some quotes. I'm going to share 2 with you today. One from the past and one that was just created. Both, I think, are going to generate a lot of buzz about hemp cannabis. The first is related a little bit more to the industrial hemp aspect of it. And it was Thomas Jefferson who said, among one of the greatest contributions one can make to one's country is the introduction of a useful new plant to your country's agriculture. And that's exactly what hemp cannabis is on the industrial scale. It could be a jobs creation for us. It is alternative fuels. It's alternative fibers. We can clothe people. We can fuel not only our economy, but the machinery that runs our economy. So Thomas Jefferson, that's one from the past. Flash forwarding a little bit more to the future, because a lot of people are talking about the legalization of recreational marijuana as possibly being a tax base for municipalities. There's a presidential candidate right now who just had a quote out. Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico, he gave a great quote. Basically, it goes this. I think, talking about marijuana legalization, he thinks marijuana legalization is really the litmus test for having a brain. I think that makes a lot of sense. There's so many different ways that the reform of our drug policy, especially governing the marijuana laws, are going to have a change in our society. And if you can't see that one way, shape, or form, we're guessing that you don't have a brain. And I think he's right. So when we're talking to our legislators, the one thing that we like to definitely point out is most legislators that care about an issue or that want to tackle an issue, want to address an issue, generally do it through sponsorships and co-sponsorships of legislation. And we spoke to a lot of legislators throughout Wisconsin that have indicated support for industrial hemp, for medical marijuana. Unfortunately, we don't see them on the board sponsoring this type of legislation. So there's some important federal bills out there right now. There's important state movement out there right now. If I can leave you with anything, it's find out who your legislator is. Find out who your state assembly rep is. Find out who your senator is. Contact them and contact them often. Thank you very much for your time today. Enjoy Harvest Fest.